running down here to check water this morning. I can see that none of the water's made it down here to the ditch. I don't know if you can hear that, but these cows are mistaken. They must think that it is this evening. They know I don't move them in the morning, but it doesn't stop them from bawling when they see me. I guess they have a Pavlovian response every time they hear this four-wheeler. And man, just look at these rice fields. They are really starting to turn that golden sort of green color that tells me it's not going to be long before we see harvesters out here cutting this rice. Anyway, we got a lot of little things to do today, so we better get started doing them. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. You should have left it open like it was supposed to be. One thing that I've been meaning to do, and again, it's a really easy job to put off, but that is maintaining this four-wheeler and the Pioneer as well. They're both due for oil changes, and today's the day that that's gonna happen. I do the oil on the four-wheeler at least once a year. It doesn't have an hour meter or anything like that, so I figure that's probably about right. While I'm letting this engine drain completely of oil and the air filter is outside drying in the sun, we'll jump in the Pioneer, run back to the ranch, and get going on some of the other stuff that I want to do down there today. We're down here in the corral now, and there's a few little jobs that need to happen down here. The first of which is I need to get this old mangled panel out of here. I've got my Sawzall here with me today. We're gonna cut this up, salvage what's good, and get rid of the rest. That pipe's got a lot of holes in it. It's rusty. It's a really thin wall. I'm not even sure if it's worth saving for anything. I can't think of what I would ever need that for. I've got some more of that stuff in the shop that I salvaged off of something else that I've still yet to use for anything. So that may just end up going in the scrap pile. Not really sure. Next thing down here is I need to do something about this little gap that I've created between my new fence and the old existing fence. The reason that I left such a big gap here is because looking forward to the future, when I rebuild this fence line, this is where I want that corner post to be. So that's why I built it like that. That's good for the future when I rebuild the new fence because everything will be where I want it. But in the meantime, it's creating a big gap here that is not big enough for a cow to get through. Honestly, a young calf could get through that no problem. And the calves that we have now, maybe some of them could get through it, but it's definitely big enough for them to at least get a head through and think they can get through it. So it's better to just block this hole off right now, and then when we're gathering everybody up, they won't even think twice about doing that. Well, I made a last minute design change, as often happens, and I screwed all the boards to this post. It's just sitting on top of the ground, on top of the concrete here from the metal post. The purpose of this, guy, is to just tie everything together and try to make it so, like, if one of these boards fails, then multiple of them have to fail, if that makes sense. So it'll just make everything a little bit stronger. But putting the boards so close together like I did, I don't think we're gonna have anybody pushing on this. As you can see, this is not a very inviting corner here. At a glance, I can't imagine an animal thinking, yeah, I could probably get through that. Well, I feel a lot better knowing that this is done, because you never know when you're gonna need the alleyway to grab somebody to put them in the chute. And a lot of you might be thinking that the next step is gonna be to tear this stuff down and redo this in pipe, because I've got the material sitting right here. But I'm gonna hold off on doing this because I think tomorrow I'm gonna take coal cows to the auction, so I can't obviously have a big hole here. And I've also got a cow that has come up lame, and I'd like to get her into the chute to try to get a closer look at her foot and see if we can't tell what's going on. And as it happens, she is up here in the corral, and since she's moving slow, I've been able to catch her. So I'm gonna get the side-by-side out of the way, and I think we'll walk her up, get her in the chute, and let's try to see if we can tell what's going on. Let's get out of the way here, Kelly. We'll use this to our advantage. Let's go get a look at you. Come on, honey. There's only one way. Boy, you got flies. For that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm feeling for heat, which I don't feel any. Her foot doesn't actually look that swollen to me, and it does not smell at all like hoof rot. Usually hoof rot has a pretty distinct odor. So I don't think it's any of those things. What I think it is I think her toe is just getting a little overgrown, and she might just need a little trim. There's a question I get asked constantly about, do you trim your cow's feet? How often do you do it? The answer is almost never. I think this is maybe the second time that I've seen a case where I feel like I need to intervene. Beef cattle generally don't get their feet trimmed ever. They've bred these foot problems out of them, because a lot of time, you know, if you're running cattle out on a range scenario, it's not realistic to be able to gather them up just to trim feet. How often do I do it? Like I say, almost never. This is the second, or actually this might be the first time I've actually done it. I remember watching Grandpa do it when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. You can see her toes are growing into each other, and it's probably just making it uncomfortable to walk, and that's what we're seeing with the limp. Hopefully that's all it is, because that's fairly easy to fix. Yeah, I don't really see what else it could be. Now the question is, what am I gonna cut these hooves with? Grandpa had, or maybe still has somewhere, some trimmers, and I'll have to see if I can find them. Bad news is I remember them hanging up on this wall here behind the round bales. I'm almost, whoa, round bales, hard to walk on like that. I'm almost certain these trimmers are down here in the end of the barn. I'm hoping if I come in from the top. Oh yeah, I see them. They are right down in there. Oh, that looks like a Black Widow Haven, doesn't it? Got them. I remember Grandpa having to trim hooves a little bit more often when I was a little kid, and I think that's why we have these trimmers. But as time has gone on, and I think the breeders have been working to eliminate this issue. You just really don't have to do it much anymore. That might have been enough right there. Better now. Well, your toes aren't touching anymore, so we probably did some good here. I wish that I could get a little more right there, but I don't think I can. I think my cutters will get in there. Well, maybe. Oh yeah, actually that looks a lot better. Well, to me, that looks a lot better. Her toes are no longer growing into each other. I have to admit, I am very inexperienced when it comes to trimming hooves, but as I understand it, it's just like trimming your fingernails. As long as you don't go too deep with it, it's fine. And I know on cattle, if you go too deep, they start bleeding. That never happened here. Well, unfortunately, I didn't get the immediate relief for her that I was hoping I could get, but it did look like maybe her foot was just a little bit swollen, and I suppose it's possible with her toes pushing on each other like that it could have just gave her a sore foot, and it might take a few days for that to go away. Hopefully that's the case. If her walking doesn't improve within the next day or so, then what I might do is lock her up in the little corral here and put a round bale out for her so that she's not having to walk around and graze. I want to try to see if she can get better like this, because it's really kind of, they don't like being separated from the herd, so I really don't like to do that unless I really have to. So we'll keep an eye on her and see what happens. The next thing that I'd like to do today is get this mess cleaned up. This is actually the fence that I took down and replaced with the pipe fence in the corral. As I was taking it down, I was just shoving the boards through the bunk feeder here, and with the intention of taking them down and get rid of them a lot sooner, but I guess sooner is going to be today. So let's go fire up the 8N. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this. We can load these onto the spear, I think, and then run it down to the pile and get rid of them. Now, if this all stays on here on the trip down to the junk pile, be doing pretty good. All right, let's get load number 2. And last is barbed wire and metal. That's not good. So I'm filming right now with the GoPro with the broken lens. I don't know if whatever hit it just broke the lens cover or if it damaged the lens as well. I mean, I think this will still work. I just need a new outer lens for it, hopefully. Well, let's do this. I'll film the rest of the video with the camera with no outer lens at all. You guys tell me if you can notice a difference. I can't tell if the actual camera itself is scratched and damaged or if the protective lens did its job. I got the loading alley opened up here, which was the main thing that I wanted to accomplish today, because my loose plan for tomorrow at least is to take coal cows. So if we're loading cattle into the trailer, this needed to be opened up. I don't think I could have got them to crash through the star thistles the way they were. Maybe we'll service this one tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.